A recent Reddit thread set the comments alight by talking about the Premier League and what the top 5 will look like come the end of the season. And it's a juicy question. It's an easy question to answer for some, but when you think about it in the context of the Premier League and the way these teams are playing at the moment, it's not so easy to say the standard Manchester City, Man United, Arsenal, whoever. It's now you've got teams like Leicester who are putting up a great run. You've got teams like Southampton that seem to be climbing their way back up to the table. And you've got teams like Chelsea who are just in self-destruct mode, as the Geordie says. So we've got the Geordie on with us. We're going to talk about who we think is going to finish top 5 at the end of the Premier League season. So Geordie, we'll go position by position. We'll make this a little interesting. So first, we'll start off with 5th. See what I did there? You thought I was going to say first. Said 5th. Keep you on your toes.
I like it. I like it.
All right, so who do you think will finish 5th in the English Premier League? So as we said, clear predictions here. Just going to be honest. It obviously can change depending on the form. But at the moment, who do you think is going to finish 5th?
It's a tough one, mate, because I feel like Liverpool and Spurs are really neck and neck in terms of quality. But I'm going to say, because of the defensive weaknesses that Liverpool have got, and I feel like the midfield isn't as solid as it could be. I think attacking-wise, Coutinho, Benteke, Sturridge, Firmino, they might have a little bit more firepower than Spurs. I just feel like there's too many weaknesses, so I'm going to say Liverpool 5th.
Liverpool 5th, and that is a great statement to start on, because I think I'm going to disagree. I think that Liverpool at the moment, despite the fact that they have that attacking prowess, as you said, that defensive weaknesses, I think Jurgen Klopp is going to take a season to try and adjust. I think that they're going to lose games against those teams that are going to be fighting for that 5th, 6th spot. And I think that at the moment, the team that I see going forward who has similar attacking capabilities, not as strong, but a little bit stronger at the back, is Southampton. And I think that I might push Southampton into that 5th spot, and I think that Liverpool will fall outside the top 5 this year. Now, I may well be proved wrong.
To counter that point, all I would say is Jurgen Klopp, combined with Liverpool's spending power, might just get something done in January just to take them just above Southampton.
Yeah, and it well and truly could happen. It depends. I think I trust, I obviously, as a Liverpool fan, trusting Jurgen Klopp with money at January is a lot more sensible than trusting Brendan Rodgers and what he did. So it could well and truly happen. I think they need a centre-back. I think they need someone to come in there if they consistently playing Sakho and Skirtle. I think there's gaps there. If they keep Dejan Lovren out the team, I think they've definitely got a chance as we talk about him. But Southampton going forward, I just feel like under Coleman, I think they know what works for them, getting it wide, getting into guys like Mane, who I think is one of the best players in the Premier League at taking people one-on-one.
What a player he is.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal player. If they keep hold of him, of course, someone could make a drastic bid, but you kind of just want to vouch for Southampton. After their team's been raided season after season, you want to vouch for them to push forward. And I think that last year they had that early spark where they pushed towards the top half of the table, top 4, and they were looking great, and then they fell away. I think they're becoming the slow burn. I think they're starting to find their form towards the end, and I think they could push forward. So, moving into 4th, I think yours is pretty self-explanatory, and I think I'll agree with you. What do you think, Tottenham?
Yeah, I'm going Spurs, mate. The goalkeeper, absolutely spot on. All right, he made a mistake the other day against Arsenal, but on the whole, he's one of the best goalkeepers in the league. The back 4, I think Walker's quick, he's solid. They finally got a centre-back pairing that works thanks to bringing in Alderweireld. Left-back Rose is good enough. And in the midfield, this new partnership of Dyer and Ali, great protection for the back 4. Lamela putting an absolute shift in, high pressure. Eriksen can create. And Harry Kane, people call him a one-season wonder. I mean, I might be wrong, but I really believe that he is not a one-season wonder. I don't believe that at 21 years old, you score 30 goals in a season on a fluke.
Yeah,
I believe that. He might not score 30 goals every season, I'm not saying that, but I think he's always going to get you enough goals, and he's going to get them enough goals to get top 4.
I despise the comments about Harry Kane, and because he didn't have as fiery a start. Harry Kane reminds me a lot of like a Terry Sheringham. He's utilised in the exact way he should be utilised, and it doesn't always pan out for him. He'll have a shot sometimes that will hit the corner flag, and he just won't catch it right, and people will get on his case because he doesn't look like the most technically gifted player. Reminds me a little bit as well as like Thomas Müller, who's always in the right positions. He doesn't look like the right type of player. Now, trust me, people are getting on my case for comparing Tottenham to Bayern Munich. I'm not comparing Harry Kane to Thomas Muller, trust me. I'm just talking about how unauthentic he looks when he's got the ball. But he gets into the right positions. Never will you see Harry Kane make a run that he shouldn't do. He won't do an Olivier Giroud where he'll pull out wide right just to get the ball. He'll get into the box. He'll make those runs in behind where he looks to get on the end of it, and he'll shoot. He'll shoot more than anyone else. And a lot of the time, he might not, he'll work the keeper a lot of the time. Sometimes it'll go off balance, but he'll always put it on target, I think. And that's why he gets goals like he did against Arsenal. That's why he scored in the previous game. That's why he's coming back into form. And I completely agree that midfield partnership of Dyer and Ali at the moment is, I would say, the strongest defensive midfield pairing that we've seen in the Premier League at the moment. Because you see Schweinsteiger and Carrick, who seem to be coming to, I would say, an agreement now. But then when you put in Schneiderlin, you know Van Gaal's going to mix it up in there. I know as soon as when you look down at Pochettino's team line, he puts down Dyer and Ali first in that position because he knows that the two of them have got that chemistry. They know when one has to push forward because Dyer has scored in big games at the past. So is Ali, because when one pushes forward, the other understands, okay, I'm sitting. Whereas before, you've seen Schweinsteiger and Carrick being caught out too high up the field. You've seen Matic and Fabregas just nowhere near the same partnership they had. You see sometimes between Manchester City, Toure gets caught higher up, and with David Silva out, Toure's going to push higher up anyway. So defensive midfield pairing, I agree. Tottenham looks strong, and I have to say, I think they'll finish fourth as well.
Awesome, mate. I couldn't agree with you more.
Nice. Good transition into third. So this is where it gets juicy. And I'll go ahead and I'll give my prediction, and then you can either agree or disagree. I think Manchester United finished third. And the reason why is I think that it's going to catch up to them. This inability to, I would say, score as consistently as they want. I know they grabbed 2 goals against West Brom there. If you watched the game, wasn't pretty. Jesse Lingard, good strike, but a lot of the times Manchester United fans still frustrated by how lackluster the pace and the attack was. They have to be more direct with their passes. And I think that it's going to dry up again. I think that unless they make a signing or an adjustment in January, but I don't even think it needs to be a signing. You just need to understand that Wayne Rooney is not the same player that he is, and maybe play Anders Herrera in that attacking midfield role, because when he comes on, first pass he makes, in behind, great direct ball to Martial, and he wins a penalty. It's not surprising to me. So I think with that said, looking at them and Arsenal, I think they're similar at the back. I think Manchester United have had a great clean sheet record this season. All credit to them. But I think that when it comes to Arsenal, I just think they look deadlier in the attacking third. As long as they get their players back and they keep fit, I think that Arsenal will finish second and Manchester United third.
As for me, mate, I'm going to agree with you and say Man United's third. And I'm not saying they're a bad team before anyone jumps on the fucking bandwagon. I think Chris Smalling is the most improved player over the last 12 months in the whole of the Premier League. I've been blown away by him. They managed to keep a hold of De Gea. Defensively, very well organised. Louis van Gaal can organise the defence and a defensive midfield. You know, I think I prefer Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger. I would leave Carrick out if it was up to me. But going forward, I think Louis van Gaal's stubbornness is going to cost him. He's so fucking stubborn, this cunt. Yeah. You know, who in their right mind would still be playing Wayne Rooney? I mean, how many games do you need to fucking work out what everyone else has been saying for the last 10? You know, and this is when you know there's an issue with a football club. When everyone in the ground, 60,000 people or whatever Old Trafford is, knows something and the manager still isn't doing it. Yeah. That's when there's an issue. That's when you're talking as stubborn as a cunt can get. So, you know, unless there's business done in January and, you know, they bring in some hotshot or, you know, someone to play out wide and then move Martial in the middle and, like you say, play Herrera, who I'm a big fan of. I think Herrera's a cracking player. Yeah. Unless all of that happens and Louis van Gaal relinquishes how stubborn he is, I think Man United third, without doubt. Yeah, and I think that what Louis van Gaal, or what I think his process behind this is he wants Wayne Rooney to come good, score 2, 3, 4 goals, and he'll be like, see, it was me. I always knew he had it in him, but that's a risky game to play because... Well, even if Wayne Rooney does score 3 or 4 fucking goals, his record's still shite. Exactly. At that point, because how many games, 20 games he's played to score 4 goals. And the thing is, it's not even about his goals as well. It's about, like, I love Wayne Rooney. I loved him as a player. I loved him in his prime. I thought he was fantastic. But if you're playing him in the hole, the ability he needs to have to retain possession is not there. He gives it away so much, trying to play those one-time passes. Everyone says, oh, Wayne Rooney's got so much to his all-round game. Whenever you talk about Shearer versus Rooney or other strikers versus Rooney, oh, Wayne Rooney's got a lot to his all-round game. Has he? Or is he really quick, is he?
No.
Not for the last 10 years he hasn't been.
No.
Is he a great passer? Have you seen him try and pass the ball? Is he really strong? No. What's he got? He used to have a lot to his all-round game, but he's shot his shit, mate. And the quicker they accept that, the better for Man United, because if you are going up against Manchester City, who've got Aguero and Silva, and Arsenal, who've got players like Alexis Sanchez and Ozil, who's been on form, and even Giroud. I would have Giroud over Wayne Rooney any day of the week, and I don't even rate Giroud that highly.
Yeah, I don't either. But the reason why is because Giroud knows his role now. You don't get Giroud who's wandering to try and pick up the ball because he feels like it. You get Giroud. I think Arsene Wenger had a stern talking to him, be like, all right, mate, you're big, you just need to get in the box and make a nuisance of yourself and get on the end of crosses.
He's in the fucking box for a start.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not rocket science. Wayne Rooney hasn't been in the box since he was with a prostitute. You know what I mean? So anyway, for second place.
That's why I love having you on, mate, because just when I was thinking you were going to throw in a footballing term, he hasn't been in a box since he was with a fucking prostitute. Brilliant. Yeah. All right, so that takes us into it. I think we're clear. So first, you think Manchester City edge it over Arsenal?
Without doubt, mate, and it's not because of the manager. I'm going to say point blank now. If Arsene Wenger was in charge of Man City, I'd be a lot more confident that Man City were going to take the title than what I am now. But Pellegrini, I think he's very one-dimensional as a coach. I think his tactics are piss poor, which is why they've flopped regularly in Europe. I think another thing is he's a piss poor front runner. Yeah. We've seen Man City almost throw the title away when he first won it, and then obviously they only won the title last time round because obviously Brendan Rodgers and Chelsea fucked it up.
Yeah.
So I'm not confident in Pellegrini, but with the level of talent he's got, if he doesn't win it, he wants shot.
Yeah, exactly. And I was going to defend Pellegrini, right? I was going to defend him because going to a place like Sevilla, who we just seen beat Real Madrid, and winning comfortably 3-1, you're like, all right, he understands there's no Aguero there. You need to utilise your wide men. You need to utilise the talent that they have. Fantastic. And then they play at home. They go away to Aston Villa. And a team that are rooted at the bottom of the English Premier League table, who are so defeated, but they just changed their manager, so they might have a little bit between their teeth. You've got to outplay them. You've got to be able to utilise your strengths in that game. And I think that as soon as that became frustrating at 30, 45 minutes before half-time, he's just sitting there like this. I don't know, like, why is my one approach not working?
Playing, mate.
Yeah, so and that's where I agree with you. If you had someone who's a little bit more versatile, like you look at someone like Sir Alex, and I know he had a great team around him, but he would never be, he wouldn't settle at first if things weren't working one dimension, especially when you're going to win this Premier League table and you've got to adjust things. And that's where I don't think he's got the balls to adjust when they have to be adjusted. He likes sticking to that same 4-2-3-1, and he understands that if they're going to win the game, it's going to be a last-minute goal to win that game because they don't want to change things. They don't want to be a little bit more attacking. He's too scared to lose.
If he was a boxer, I feel like he's only got one style. Like, you know, if he's under pressure, he can't roll with a punch and tuck his chin in and counter-attack. He can't do that. He's the aggressor or he's nothing. And
I think that Manchester City fans, I know, probably in the comment section starting a war right now, but when you look at games like them against Sevilla, that wasn't a Pellegrini's decision. That was Kevin De Bruyne stepping up to the point where he's like, all right, I'm talented. I'm going to get the ball in the wide area, cut in and shoot. Same thing against Sevilla away. I thought Raheem Sterling was phenomenal. And I think that when you come up against a frustrating team like Aston Villa with that bit between their teeth at the weekend, that's where you need your manager. That's where you need someone to be like, no, okay, we've just lost Bonnie. Let's push a little bit more forward. We've got the strong back four with a holding midfielder. We can push an extra man up, try and win this game. But no, I think he's genuinely okay with a 0-0. I think he's genuinely okay with tying with Manchester United at Old Trafford. And I'm not saying that's not going to win them the league, because it will, because you'll get managers like Arsene Wenger who might want to win the game.
With that level of talent, you shouldn't just be winning the league. Yeah. You should be fucking cruising.
Yeah.
You should be in second gear, just cruising down the street. Like, it shouldn't be anything like how hard he's making this look. Man City haven't just got the best team in the league. They've got the best team in the league by a fucking mile.
Yeah.
They went and spent 150 million in the summer, and they already had the best team in the league.
Yeah, It's something that I think many people need to understand in the Premier League, that it's not, on paper, these teams are not as close as people think. Like, Arsenal have great talent in there. You've got Sanchez, but Arsenal's back four, they're still starting Per Mertesacker, who I still think is going to be found out soon. You know what I mean? I think
It's shite, isn't he?
and Manchester City's back four is a great, strong back four when they're all playing well together. But I just thought that on paper, from start to finish, with all their players fit, Man City do have a far superior team. And
Man City's back four, if you look at what they paid for them, I'm sure it equates to like you're looking at like 100 million, probably, or something ridiculous. Like, they've got 3 centre backs that are like 30 million each.
yeah, I agree.
That is insane to me.
Yeah. And I think the good thing about Pellegrini being in there is that it keeps it entertaining for us to all watch. Like, they're not going to run away with the league the way Man United have done for years, because that's what I'm saying. Like, Manchester United under Sir Alex had a great team, but they had a great manager who understood what it took to win, and that's why they ran away with it so many leagues. So
if they had Ancelotti, it would be a lot more boring of the Premier League, that's for sure.
I think so. All right, so there to wrap it up, the Geordie says Man City win it, Arsenal in second, Man United in third, Tottenham in fourth, and Liverpool in fifth. I say very similar, Manchester City to win it as well. Arsenal in at second, Man United in at third, but I'm switching it up. I think Tottenham finish fourth, and I think Southampton pip Liverpool to that final spot. A bold statement there, but you guys can agree or disagree. As always, you know you're going to get the best and most truthful information from us two here on Around the Premier League. Check out the Geordie's channels. He's got 2 channels. His gaming channel, which surpassed 100,000 subs. Great to see that. And obviously his footballing channel, where he rants, shouts about not Manchester United, shouts about Newcastle, but not so much shouting this weekend because they had a good win, 1-0. But you were bold in stating in your title, we didn't deserve it. Am I correct?
Yeah, we got lucky, mate, but, you know, we're due some luck, aren't we?
All right, subscribe and come back again.